Good morning. I want to preface the entire video that I would like everyone to start thinking about these videos as a visual podcast, because it's definitely not a vlog. So I think my goal for these videos is to literally just sit and talk. You're not really it's not a necessity to watch. It's just kind of I'm uploading it in a video format. Obviously I'm not a fucking influencer. That's not the goal. But I definitely feel I'm giving those vibes by posting on my story hey, new vlog is out, you guys. Nobody gives a fuck. It's genuinely more for me than anything else, but it is a bonus that I can share it with people that care enough to watch it. It's just to be able to have a space of my own in which I can just share. I want people to see a TikTok of mine, a post of mine on Instagram, and click on my links and be able to just know who I am as a person, know what I stand for, be able to read my articles, be able to watch my videos. I want there to be a hub for me. I want everything I've done and everything that I've worked on in an artistic space to be able to be found when people find me, you know? I don't want people to see me posting on the story and think oh, Christian's trying to be a vlogger now. I'm not. It's just kind of a fun little hobby. It's a fun little side thing for me to kind of, I don't know, when I'm not making something, feel I am, and have a space that I can just talk about things. It is something that I want to do, so I want to be able to just do that for myself. Be able to, I don't know, I feel I don't say a lot. There's so many things that intrigue me, and so many things that I want to be oh my god, did you hear about this? Let's sit down and have a 15-minute conversation about this. I can't do that with people because I'm not that person. If I can tell that someone's not interested in what I have to say, then I'm not talking. So my iPhone can't say that. I also do genuinely have a lot of interest in starting a podcast. That's so I know everyone. I'm a white man. I need a podcast for myself. It's fun. My friend Manny does it, and I would love to be part of that. I don't know. That's basically what I'm doing. I would love to do that. That would be so much fun. And then we can stop doing the videos because it's not really me. I tried to do the vlogging thing in high school, and it didn't work. It's not the stuff that I like doing when I'm doing stuff like that. It works for this format, so I'm gonna keep doing it, and I am enjoying it, so I don't wanna. This week has been crazy. Abby's coming outside. Not even in a crazy way, just the way time has existed this week is interesting. There's so much drama, and I'm not gonna get into it in the video, but I would if it was a podcast. So keep that in mind. If you ever want me to be able to get into more drama, maybe, I don't know. I literally have not done anything creative since school stopped. I know I talked about this in the last video. I'm no longer allowed in the gym on my campus because I'm not taking summer school. And that also means I'm not allowed in the building that has all the sewing machines and shit. But Kate is taking online classes, so I think whenever she goes down, I'm just gonna go down with her. Or if I want to go down, maybe I'll just make her go down with me. I have my options, I'm just not doing them because it's too much work. I spilled water. Oh, I did it again. We have so much to get into in this video. I made a little note on my phone, on my iPhone this morning of all the topics and whatever that I wanted to delve into. So we'll actually have some kind of formation and I don't know, plan. So that's gonna be nice, and it's gonna be nice, and it's gonna be real nice. So stay tuned for that later. I also, oh my god, the reason that I want to make a podcast, one of the biggest reasons, is because my video last week was 30 minutes long. Nobody wants to sit and watch me talk for 30 minutes. If it's a podcast, a 30-minute thing to listen to is not bad. You turn it on, you walk away, it's whatever. Podcast is so much easier. there's so much that I want to say, and I cannot for the life of me stay on track. So you can't expect me to be able to cover the like mass amount of topics and like topics that I like to dive deep into under 30 minutes. So it would make so much more sense to have a format that I can just like talk about like anything, and I can get off track and get back on track and like whatever. I can't do that in the video format. So I want to make this video a little shorter, try to like, I don't know, just talk about the stuff that I want to talk about, because I don't want another 30-minute video, because I know no one wants to watch those, but I also want to talk. So it's a weird paradox that I'm in, but we're going to try out what I can fit into like maybe a 20-minute video. So it's already at 10 minutes. We'll get back into it, and I'll do maybe like a 20-minute rant, and then we can like break it down. I feel like I can make it fit into 20 minutes. Today, a lot of what I wanted to talk about is kind of like, I don't know, it's mostly fashion stuff and like art stuff, because I know I talked about the Gucci cruise show last week, but then Versace released their cruise show, which was co-designed by Dua Lipa. But I've been seeing a lot of cruise shows, and I think I'm realizing that like cruise collections might be my favorite. There's so much like, I don't know, creativity, but in the kind of setting that I like. My interest in fashion is like twofold, in that on one hand, I love the really extravagant avant-garde like Iris Van Herpen, the big eccentric designer designs, you know, the ones that are supposed to be like not wearable. But then I also love designers like Marc Jacobs and Dolce & Gabbana and Vivienne Westwood and whatever, who do Barragan, who do the like wearable, just like interesting looking clothes. And I think that cruise is like a really interesting like center point in that, in which there is like the couture elements, the fabrics that they're using, the colors that they're using, the way that they're styling it, but it's a lot more casual. I also am liking like the colors that I've been seeing. I know like a lot of brands have their colors that are like them. Like I know the colors that Versace did for their cruise show is very Versace. I think we were in a very like earth tone period for a long time. I have been wearing earth tones for the past like 3 years. Like that's a majority of what I wear, unless I'm like purposely wearing something more colorful. And I think that fashion has followed that, followed that, in that like a lot of stuff has been a lot more monochrome. And I said that in a blog post I made the very beginning of this year, that a lot of the collections that I was seeing were denim, leather, like things that aren't as patterned, a lot less patterned. 2019 and 2020, there was just like a lot of like florals and checkers and like all of the, what is it called, herringbone. And I like it, and like I love a good animal print. I love a good stripe, you know? I like that there are some collections that are coming out with more patterns, because I think we stopped using patterns, especially for the, I guess it would have been what, spring summer 2024 at the beginning of this year. There weren't a lot of patterns. It was a lot of like just monochrome, all black, all gray, all blue, all brown. And I love that. But I also think that like obviously certain seasons require certain colors, and earth tones just aren't summer. No matter what the fashion industry goes through, we still have the standard things that like we always will check, like, oh, it's a summer collection, we're using pastels, you know? I also, not even like something I've been thinking about, but something I've been thinking about. I talked about this last week with how much TikTok can shape like what becomes popular. And I've realized how many amazing brands TikTok and Twitter have introduced me to. I think when I talk about brands, I almost always bring up Gucci or Louis Vuitton, Dolce & Gabbana, Vivienne Westwood, Iris Van Herpen, the standard like Chanel, the ones we all know. And I've written about more obscure brands, but I'm glad that there are platforms. Oh my God. This was one of the first people I wrote about, or not people, but I guess like things I wrote about, was Fashion Faggot. And I love their page so much. It's like entirely consumed by gay fashion, like men in fashion and queerness in fashion and yada yada yada. And that's something that I write about very frequently. It's something that like I like talking about, and I'm glad that things and pages and people like that account exist, because I think it allows for brands like Baragon, Gypsy Sport, NIHL, Death to Tennis. There are so many brands that like just don't really get publicity that have so much to offer to the industry. And I think honestly at this point it's kind of like, you're not going to replace Louis Vuitton, you know? But I think it's important for me, especially someone who's very, very critical of the fashion industry, to have that exposure that like, fashion isn't bad. It's just the capitalistic part of fashion that's bad. And there are still brands that are about making fashion, and like designers who just care about like art and the zeitgeist that they give to. On a very, very separate note, just something I wanted to talk about, because I think I want to start, like, if I'm writing an article or an essay, I want to also address it in the video, just to kind of like have that tie-in. My most recent essay that I'm publishing, probably Monday, I think, is about female rage. And it's something that like, I don't know, I feel kind of uncomfortable speaking about, because I know I make jokes about like being the white man with a podcast, especially when I'm talking about women's issues. It's like especially sensitive for me, and that like I don't want to do that. I just care. Like I genuinely, like, it comes from a place of like, this is something I've been thinking about and I want to talk about it. I never want there to be a moment where it feels like I'm trying to talk over someone. Like, if I'm writing about a race issue, if I'm writing about a sex issue, a gender issue, I know that a lot of that isn't part of my intersectionality. And I know that a lot of that isn't like something that I necessarily have the right to educate other people on. But it's also something that like I do just genuinely have a great place of passion for. And I want to be able to like give my 2 cents, and that comes from a place of privilege, of wanting my opinion to be heard. But like, I don't want it to come across that way, you know? Maybe it's a moment of self-reflection for me, of like, I need to decide if I'm someone who wants my opinion, if I'm someone who wants my opinion to be shared enough that conversation can occur, of like, why is this white bitch talking about that? Or if I'm someone who would be willing to not talk about it just for the sake of letting the conversation be taken over by the people in that community. I also want to point out that I get 5 views like per video, so it's not really like my opinion's going anywhere. The article I'm writing about is about female rage, especially in media, and how media chooses to present that. I remember addressing this in an article that I think is on my website. It was a literary response to One Eye Open, I think is what it's called. It's about a woman who's on a bus, and this guy starts groping her, and she doesn't like it, but then when she leaves, she's like, she wanted him to like follow her. If you're gonna grope me, like grope me good, so that at least I can like file a report about it, basically. I think one of the last lines was like, she wanted to take his wallet. But one of the points that I brought up was this theme that's in media a lot, the rape revenge fantasies. It's like a narrative about a woman who gets raped, and then the rest of whatever medium it's in, movie, book, whatever, is about her getting revenge on the people that raped her. Which seems like it could be an interesting film. It's not when it's like its own genre. And especially when a lot of these stories are being told by men in a very exploitative way. Like, the rape scene lingers on too long, or like it shows it in a sexual context and not like a violent context. It's exploitative. It's like part of what coined the term like sexploitation films. But basically my point in the entire essay was about like highlighting that media is choosing to portray this story at like a rising rate, especially compared to the stories that they were telling about women like 2 decades ago. Women weren't really ever in the main character role, and especially not in a role that is like demeaning to men. I think it's so poignant that it's no longer like Taken or The Patriot and these films about like men going on these murderous, violent rampages. It's about Amy Dune planning 2 years of revenge for her husband cheating on her and never even like actually doing anything. Didn't even do anything. She just left and everything fell apart. That's female rage. It's so much different than what rage is portrayed as. And I think that's why I have such issue with these TikToks that talk about female rage and show Cassie crying in the mirror and Jennifer from Jennifer's Body wiping the makeup on her face and yada yada yada. Because that's not female rage. That's what men think female rage is. That's like just, I don't know, what people do. I do that all the time. Female rage is something that's so deep within. It's like genuinely like, it's why movies like X have such a big impact. Movies like Midsummer have such a big impact because it's not just these like small little things where like a man does something so a woman responds. It's like, it speaks about kind of the culture of inciting anger into women. The expectation that women should be docile and simple and quiet and not angry makes the media's portrayal, at least, of rage so much more impactful. It's rage from everything. And films like X, where the woman just starts fucking killing everyone because her life is unfair. Like, yeah, that's crazy in the real world. But it's also like, I think it's more relatable. I think it is more relatable to have a film about a woman who just hits her breaking point and like can't put up with the shit that she's had to put up with anymore than a woman who has something bad done to her and has to do something bad back. That's just like that's normal rage. That's normal vengeance, you know? Because it's not just like woman angry, woman break things. It's like the world is punching down and she's finally deciding to punch back up. Movies like I, Tonya, movies like Black Swan, movies like Suspiria, in which these women go through like these metamorphic experiences. The rage is the final product. The rage is like what they're left with when everything has broken everything from them. When Natalie Portman becomes the Black Swan is rage. I don't know. Crazy how no matter what happens, the second I fucking hit record, I can't remember anything I wanted to talk about. Anything. Ever. So we're going back to fashion. Because I know I just went on this long tangent about female rage, but this is what we do. We jump back and forth. Fuck you. Anyway, I know I said, like, one of my favorite things about TikTok and Twitter is that they show me new brands and whatever. And it's true, but, like, I also want to point out that a lot of the collections that I do end up seeing are ones that are old. So, like, it's not like I'm really getting any... What? Kitty kitty. It's not like I'm really getting any, like, I don't know, anything to update on or anything that tells me anything about like fashion. It's just like is cool to see stuff that like I don't usually see. Anyway, I bring this up because I saw the Kids Super Spring Summer 2023 collection recently, and I'm assuming that came out last year at some point because it was 2023. I did actually see it like when it was released, but that vibe is like what I want fashion to be. Oh, I also wanted to bring up the D Squared collection for Spring Summer 2024. D Squared released their new collection. Still love them so much. They're still doing like the denim shit, but they're like, they do it in such a modern way. Like they do it in the way that like people like me, people that are in fashion can like admire. Like it's not just, I don't know, a denim jacket. It's like a D Squared denim jacket. They add the elements of like lace and ribbon and the cut and whatever. I also think that something that I think gets overlooked a lot in fashion is texture and textiles, right? Because I think after like I stopped the video and like came back, I was looking at some of the stuff I've like saved and written about or whatever recently just to kind of like refresh so that I would know what I wanted to talk about. And I honestly think one of my favorite things about Crew's collections is that they're always using very like lightweight silky textiles, the jewel tones, and I think I'm just like a slut for that. Like I think that does it for me. But I also do think the colors, you know.
Hey, do you guys have a cigarette by chance? Okay, you just replace it, they made out from after replace it. Both of them. Hey, how you doing, sir? You got an extra $1 or $2, man? You got an extra $1 or $2? You don't? Alright. Talk to you guys later.
Is that Stan?
I'm just asking now, I'm not trying to punk you guys. You know?
Bitches are mean. He's asking for $1. Don't give him attitude. The point is, I think that the texture of a pattern piece like makes it so much more appealing. And I don't think I even like think about that very often. Like if it's a piece, it's a cool looking piece, it's a cool looking piece. I think that like cruise shows always use very similar textiles because they are supposed to be like summer clothes, so it's a lot of like beachier shit. And I just like it. I like the way they do it. Okay, well, I wanted to do a shorter video anyway, so let's get into media. Evil Dead Rise I watched, and I watched it's about a dementia patient. I can't remember what her name is, but it was like a mockumentary and she goes like crazy. Anyway, those are both very good movies. Evil Dead I like tweeted about. The cinematography was like actually insane. The story was fucking frustrating. If you know that the incantation is what made your mom go crazy, why would you purposely say the incantation again? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, music, still haven't been listening to much music recently. It's like crazy. But I have I wanted to say shit about Taylor Swift. But I have no music media. That's so disappointing. Wow, today's video like sucks. I just keep listening to Biba Doobie and Callie and Lana and Deftones and Rico. What are you gonna do? I think I've just gotten to a point where like I think I found the kind of music I like listening to, so I'm not really branching out as much, and that's on me. Maybe I should do that, but that's the point that I'm at. Anyway, that's today's video. Hope you liked it. Keep an eye out for the new essay that I wrote. It's gonna go on the website. Keep an eye out for the video. I think new format is film on Saturday, edit on Sunday, publish on Monday, but we shall see. That's it for today. There's definitely more I wanted to talk about. I have like so much that I have to say, but when it actually comes to saying it, it just doesn't come to the forefront of my brain. It's like, even when I'm talking, I'm thinking about other things, So it's so hard for me to like stay anyway. Those Eyes, That Mouth by the Cocteau Twins. Cocteau Twins, media.